Lewis and Clark, leading the Corps of Discovery, leave the tense encounter with the Teton Sioux tribe behind them and continue north on the Missouri River.
First, they meet the Arikara, which is the next tribe upriver, and the Arikara were like, very open, very friendly, just the opposite. They stayed with them for a few days as well. Well, the Arikara, that's where we get one of the beautiful stories about York.
York becomes a source of great fascination to the native peoples as they see him and as the expedition has interaction. Most, if not all of them, have never seen a black man.
The Arikara tried to rub off his blackness. They could not understand how he was black. They called him, he was black as a bear. They just could not figure that out.
They walk up to him and they touch his skin thinking that it's paint of some kind, that it's a coloration that's used, and then they realize, no, this is his real skin. To the peoples of the plains, he is a person of great medicine or big medicine. He obviously has something about him that is very attractive.
From the Arikara, they finally make it into North Dakota. And by the way, by this time, it's the end of October and it's cold. I mean, they're waking up to frost on the ground. They know they've got to get to the Mandan Villages.
When Lewis and Clark were preparing for their expedition, they had a pretty good idea of what they would encounter from their departure just outside of St. Louis. And they knew about the Mandan villages that were here.
This was the last known settlement on the Missouri River, and they were told by everybody, you got to get to the Mandan Villages because that's the last place you can winter. That's your last known place. You got to get there to winter, otherwise you're going to be out in the middle of nowhere.
The villages in this region were kind of their end goal, to get here by winter.
The Mandan Villages was a collection of about 5 different villages. During the summer, when the trading was hot and the people were coming in from all over the area, it could swell to 15,000, 20,000 people. At that time, in the wintertime, it would be maybe 3,000.
Their plan was to spend time here amongst the Mandan and Hidatsa to be able to glean the big question mark that's coming up. What is this big unknown beyond this point?
Shehek Shahot, the Mandan chief, is the one that takes them under their wing, under his wing, and he takes care of them that winter. He invites them to put their camp right across from his.
November 2nd, they began building their fort, and within the first 2 weeks or so, they were able to build it up enough that they could at least move into the fort.
The fact that they just went out there with, basic tools, some axes, and found some trees and built a whole fort and moved in under some, pretty harsh conditions is really phenomenal.
And they finished construction on Christmas Eve, so a nice Christmas present for them to be able to take Christmas off and celebrate the holiday.
Lewis and Clark were meeting with various native groups as they traveled up the Missouri River at the start of the expedition. And then this gathering of data, which is sort of like a 19th century Excel sheet, you could say, was put together while they overwintered at Fort Mandan. The short title for this document would be The Estimate of Eastern Indians. Eastern being the region from the Mississippi River to the edge of the Rocky Mountains. Part of the mission was to understand native groups, know where they were, know who they were friends with, whom they were friends with, whom they were enemies with. They wanted to set up trade with native groups. So getting all of this data together and being able to understand the relationships and the size of different communities all across this area was essential. In some ways, you have to imagine this could have just been the only information that could have come back to the East Coast of the United States if they had not been able to make it. So this document is actually, this report is extremely important for a lot of different reasons. That's one of them. It could have been the only thing that survived what was a very treacherous expedition.
Lewis and Clark knew there's going to come a point where the river is going to play out. They knew it was going to get shallower and shallower, and eventually it's going to play out, and they're going to need some horses to take their stuff over the mountains. Where can we get horses? We're going to buy horses. Where are we going to get them? And of course, the Hidatsas, the Mandans, are the only ones that we know of that have horses out there. It's going to be the Shoshones. Out of that little conversation, that they realized they got to find somebody who could translate into Shoshone. One day, a French guy by the name of Toussaint Charbonneau, he's a trader. He's been living among the Hidatsas for 10 years already. And he walks into camp, and he's got 2 Shoshone women by his side. One named Otter Woman and one named Bird Woman. And Bird Woman translated into English is Sacagawea.
He offered his services as an interpreter. So he had been living amongst the Hidazas for a number of years at that point.
There's their link for translation. Sacagawea can take and translate from Shoshone into Hidatsa. She knew 2 languages. Toussaint Charbonneau is French, and he lived among the Hidatsa. He knows Hidatsa and he knows French. He does not know Shoshone. So he can take her Hidatsa, translate it into French, but he doesn't know English. So he has to translate it to a French guy by the name of Labiche, who then translates it to English. Sacagawea, Toussaint Charbonneau, Labiche, to Lewis and Clark, and back again. Yeah, and it's that's how they're going to get it done. That's how they're going to get done. So they hire him to get her.
For more information or to become involved with the Lewis and Clark Trail Alliance, visit lewisandclark.org. To learn more about Shenandoah University and the Shenandoah Center for Immersive Learning, visit su.edu/skill.